Yes, I just think I'm getting a text.
Wait, I think it is Mario Mario. I think it is. You mean Smash Bros? Yeah. Oh yeah, not Mario Mario. Mario Mashup is that. But yeah, Smash Bros. I actually defeated Lee on Smash Bros. Oh, and I think Mario
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Temple Akiba of Culver City. We're so glad that you're here with us to welcome in and to harness the light of Shabbat. My name is Rabbi Shapiro. I'm really glad that you're here. Let's begin by taking a deep breath. Let's think about something special that may have happened over this past week. Something extraordinary that made us think differently. Let's breathe in and out once again. There are many reasons that people come to services on Shabbat. There are some who come because, well, that's what they do. They come to pray. There are some who come because they're celebrating a special moment like Naomi is going to be doing for her bat mitzvah tomorrow. There are people observing yard sites or who are in Shloshim, remembering someone who has died. There are those who are here for healing. I think many of us are here for healing. There are those who are here because they heard there was an open house at Temple Akiba and they wanted to come and see what was going on. All of us are here today, standing at the foot of Sinai, preparing our souls to just transform and to embrace Shabbat. We're going to be using, our Sidurim through the service. And as we often say at Temple Akiba, if there's music that you are unfamiliar with or words that you don't yet know, just say la 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 and allow your soul to open up and for your spirits to soar. Now, this Shabbat is a particularly interesting Shabbat. We are celebrating Tu B'Av today. Tu B'Av, it's not, Tisha B'Av was last week. Tisha B'Av was the commemoration of the destruction of the first and second temple, as well as remembering the Crusades and the expulsion of the Jews from Spain. Tu B'Av, which comes less than a week after Tisha B'Av, Tu B'Av is Jewish Valentine's Day. And in ancient times, this was the day that people were match made one to the other. And it has resurrected itself as a modern Jewish day to celebrate the different kinds of love that are in our lives. So a lot of the music and liturgy that we'll be using today has to do with the love that is in Judaism and in our lives. We're going to open on page 11 with the singing of Dodi Li. This is a wedding song. My beloved belongs to me, and I belong to my beloved. Dodi li v'anilo arohen Shoshani, Dodi li. Everyone, Dodi li. Dodi li, Vanilo, Arohen, Shoshani, Dodi li, Mizoto. Akiba, Isoto, Lamin Akiba. Dodili, Mahino, Aroen, Ashoshanim, Dodili, Mihikuteret Mon, Mohorulemona, Mohorulemona, Dodili, Dodili, Bahanino, Aroen, Ashoshani, Dodili, everyone. Dodili, Bahanino, Aroen, Ashoshani, Tomorrow is such a special day as Naomi ascends to become a bat mitzvah. And so, on this Friday night, we invite you and your sister Claire and your parents to light our Shabbat. Friends, we're on page 2 of our Sidurim.
One villager, one thing is
Oh. Friends, we're going to continue on page 5 with our Kiddush, and we ask for all who are able to please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri v'ka'amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah banu, v'shabbat kasho v'ahava u'ratzah nihilanu, v'kara l'ma'aseh zrechi, ki hu yotek v'yom. Mikrai Kodesh, Zephir Mikrai, Kidanu B'Chata, B'Chata Kilasha, Nikohami, Shabbat Koshecha, V'Havu Ratzon, Yipaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Melech Shabbat. L'chaim.
Please be seated, everyone. We'd like to invite forward, representing the congregation from our sisterhood, Helene Jaffa, and from our men's group, Herman Barnathan. Naomi, they have some presentations for you.
Especially, I have heard a lot about Naomi, especially for Zoe. And Zoe would never say she's very sweet or she's very smart, because kids don't say that about other kids in their Hebrew school classes. But everything I heard was about how you are a mensch. And being a mensch is the best thing Temple Akiba Hebrew School can teach. You also sang beautifully, and you also learned a lot and worked hard. So we are pleased to have the privilege of giving you some candlesticks and a Kiddush cup so that you can say the same words at home and I hope often. Congratulations to you and to your family, the parents who did all the work.
With the rabbi's permission, Naomi, I'm going to deviate for just a minute. This looks familiar to you? Yeah. You do. It does. This is a card, a get well card that was sent to me after I had a surgical procedure by this young lady. I don't know her. She doesn't know me. But she's studying for her Golden High, which I'm quite sure you'll get tomorrow. And as part of that study, and the fact that she just is what she is, this surprised me and made me so happy. Now, this is back in July, and I'm still carrying it around with me. Naomi, thank you very, very much for your thoughtfulness. And now it is my honor. By the way, Naomi is a sample of the type of children that we have here at Temple Akiba. So for you people who are thinking of joining the synagogue, please, this is a great example of what we do for our children here. Naomi, it is my honor and my privilege as a member of the men's group and on behalf of the men's group of Temple Akiba to present you with this Tanakh. And because we think of you and we love you, we made one in English for you. I know you can read Hebrew. I heard you. Whether or not you'll understand it 30 years down the line, I don't know. Anyway, this is the Tanakh. It starts with Bereshit. It goes all the way through Psalms, Judges, whatever you want to know. This is an education for you as far as Judaism is concerned. It's a way that you can live your life. Enjoy reading it. Mazel tov to you. Mazel tov to your family.
Thank you so much, Herman, and thank you to Helene for your leadership. We're going to continue with the singing of Lecha Dodi. It's on page 20 of our prayer books. Lecha Dodi is another love song. This recreates a wedding ceremony where the Sabbath bride comes to get married to the people of Israel, with God presiding as the rabbi. When we get to our final verse of Lecha Dodi, it's the custom to stand and to face the entry, which is over here, to bow as Shabbat comes and enters our souls. We'll be doing not every verse, but about 4 or 5 of them all together, and I will announce the verses as we approach them. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha דודי דודי לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא verse 1 שהמור וזכור בליבו אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד שמו אחד לשם ותפארת בלילה לך דודי דודי לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא verse 2 לקראת שבת להפו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה להפוש מקדם מסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא verse 5 התעוררי כי בעורך ומאורי ובורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא please rise we face the entry word verse 9 בואו בשלום עטרת קלה גם בשמחה ובתורה תוך אמוני עם סעודה בואי חלה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא לך דודי לקראת עלה בני שבת נקרא 1 week ago at Shabbat, I had the pleasure of being at a service in Tel Aviv, Israel. And it was, excuse me, it wasn't a traditional Shabbat service. This is one that is offered right at the port of Tel Aviv, outdoors, with, I don't know, 400 or 500 people as the sun was setting over the Mediterranean. And it was just extraordinary. Now, while I wasn't there with a delegation, I met up with a group of people who I know who are leading an LGBTQ interfaith mission to Israel to learn about what's going on in our homeland. And so it was so wonderful to meet up with them, and we prayed together and we ate together. And during that evening, this was again a week ago Friday, all of our phones were going off as there were air raid sirens happening because missiles were being sent in from Gaza. And it gave us pause, but it didn't slow us down, because, how do I put this? There's always going to be terrorism in Israel. And we always have so much to learn about. And we always have to find reasons to listen deeply to what's going on. And we have reasons to think broadly about how to create a better situation for all who call this place home. So I was honored to be there. I was honored to be there at this very interesting and difficult time. But I can't wait to go back. And as a reminder, next year in June, we'll be leading an Israel family trip. So please keep your eyes open for more information that will unfold as the year unfolds. Naomi, we're going to invite you back up, and you're going to be leading us in the Chatzi Kaddish. We're on page 26 of our prayer books.
Israel.
I mean, even with their masks on, we can tell your parents are smiling so broadly. It's so beautiful to see. We're going to continue with our formal call to worship the Barafu. It's on page 28. We invite all in body or in spirit to please rise. Our next prayer is on page 32. It's called Ahavat Olam. This is another love song. It's a song about God's everlasting love to our world. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha, Amcha, Torah u'mitzvot, u'kim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadeta, Otanu lemadeta. Agen Adonai Eloheinu v'shofteinu Umeinu nasiach b'chutecha V'nismach b'divrei toratecha U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla Ve'ahavat ha'atazir Imenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael. The Ahavta, which comes after the Shema, is another love song. In fact, it's the same root. The one that we just prayed was Ahavat Olam. You hear the word Ahavat, it's connected to the Ahavta. A lot of the same sounds. The difference is the Ahavat Olam is about God's love for us. The V'ahavta is about our love for God. You shall love Adonai your God. And it goes both ways. Love is a conversation. And in between these two prayers are the words of the Shema Yisrael. So again, we first take in divine love for us. We respond by offering the Shema. And then in return, we talk about the ways that we can love God. And that is by carrying God's words wherever we go. So we're going to invite the congregation to rise once again. The Temple Akiba tradition for offering the Shema is to take our fingers and make the letter Shin by putting 3 fingers there and then covering our eyes. And we sing together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Yevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated, everyone except for Naomi. Naomi is going to lead us in the V'ahavta. We're on page 36, everyone. You know, Naomi, you hit the jackpot, not just because you chanted this so beautifully, but because your Torah portion contains the V'ahavta in it. So what you're chanting tomorrow from Torah includes the words of the Shema and has the V'ahavta in it. So you got a little bit of a head start when you were learning your Torah portion because you already knew this so beautifully. Let's read the translation, a poetic translation of what Naomi so beautifully just chanted. We're on page 37. Let's read together out loud. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you're tired or you're rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. V'micha mocha is our prayer of freedom. We're on page 40, and it begins with a nigun. A nigun is a song without words, but we also need some hand claps in here. So if you are familiar with the hand claps, just join right in. If not, you'll get it pretty easily. Ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Micha mocha ba'edim Adonai micha mocha me'ekar b'kodesh Norati lo se mele Norati lo se mele Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Barafu tekara umanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Ze'elianu ve'yameru Ze'elianu ve'yameru Adonai Himnom le'olam ha'ed Adonai Himnom le'olam ha'ed Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la la. Page 42 is our Hashkivenu prayer. It's a prayer that reminds us that when we enter dark times, that there is light that will continue to shine. If we look about 1, 2, 3 lines down in the Hebrew, there are 4 Hebrew words. Repeat after me, please. Ufros, Aleinu, Sukkot, Shlomecha. That means spread over us a sukkah of peace. Now, the irony with this is that of all structures, a sukkah is probably the flimsiest structure out there, right? You know, a windstorm, an earthquake is going to knock a sukkah down pretty easily. Why are we praying to God to spread over us a sukkah of peace? Don't we want a fortress of peace? Don't we want a great temple of peace? Why? The flimsiest of objects. Think about it. Peace is something that's so precarious, we can't take it for granted. We can't take it for granted. We have to work really hard to pursue it, to uphold it. And so if it were a fortress, then we just let it be. But if it's simply a sukkah, then we've got to hold it up. We've got to be partners in that pursuit of peace. So this prayer, the Hashkivenu, is a reminder that when we go into those more difficult times, that we have a responsibility to hold up whatever we can to create light and peace and goodness in our world. So we're going to be using those 4 words, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, as we sing this prayer. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Now invite Naomi back forward, who is going to lead us in the Amidah section of our prayer service. We're on page 46. Once again, we ask all who are able to please rise. Friends, we're going to continue with our own silent prayers. We can use the Siddur as a guide between pages 100 and, between pages 40, 52 and 62. Or else just take a moment to look inside your own hearts and souls, reflect on what's there. And when you're finished with your own private prayers, you may be seated. There's a beautiful melody that I grew up with that my sister Eliza and I used to sing together quite often. Eliza is here with us in our congregation, and she is currently studying to be a rabbi as well. We may have two rabbis in the family. This is a song that was worded, penned by, in the 1970s, the head of the Israeli Air Force. It's called Et Hamangina Hazot. It's not in our Sidurim. But it means this song should never end. It should never cease. Again, we have an obligation to continue to offer this melody, for it should never cease. את המנגינה הזאת אי אפשר להפסיק. את המנגינה הזאת אי אפשר להפסיק. מוכרחים להמשיך לנגן, מוכרחים להמשיך לנגן. מפני שאת המנגינה הזאת אי אפשר להפסיק. את המנגינה הזאת אי אפשר להפסיק. את המנגינה הזאת אי אפשר להפסיק. מוכרחים להמשיך לנגן, מוכרחים להמשיך לנגן. מפני שאת המנגינה הזאת אי אפשר להפסיק. We turn to page 253. Right in the center of the page is our prayer for healing. This prayer gives us an opportunity to think about those who are so important to us, who use an extra embrace. It's a prayer that also asks God to send wisdom to caregivers, doctors, to us, so that we know how to best be present for those who are in need of healing. As we pray the first part of it, please think deeply about those that you're thinking of who could use that extra prayer. And when we get to the center, as my eyes meet yours, please don't be shy. Say those names out loud so that we can hear them. Perhaps we can become angels to God to help find healing for those that we love. The source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Carol Diamond, David Joppa.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
It's so wonderful to see everyone here and to hear the sounds of God's angels through our youngest voices that are here. It really deepens so much of my personal experience, and I think for all of us as well. Being Tu B'Av, this Jewish romantic day, I wanted to share with our congregation sort of an inside story of one of the most difficult navigations that I went through as a rabbi when it came to officiation at the wedding. This happened a number of years ago, long time ago. And a wedding couple came to me wanting to see if I would officiate. Now, there are many different couples with many different backgrounds who come, but this was a particularly difficult one for the reasons that I'll offer you. The woman who sought me out before she brought her fiancé was dying of cancer, and she only had a few months to live. And she was a woman who had been previously married. A long time ago, she had adult children. So she had lived quite a few years of her life. And she wanted to marry her best friend who was gay. This was a straight woman who wanted to marry a gay man. And the reason that she wanted to marry him was because, well, there were two reasons. One reason was that she wanted one last bit of celebration of life. And the other reason was that she needed health insurance that she didn't have. And she said, Rabbi Zach, will you officiate at my wedding? And I had to really think about it. Because in all of my training as a rabbi, I learned that when people get married, they need to be in love with each other. And it needs to be for reasons X, Y, and Z. But to knowingly navigate with a couple who are getting married, A, for health insurance reasons, and B, for a personal celebration, but C, where there wasn't a true, I'm using the word true lightly, where there wasn't a romantic love interest, it gave me pause. And I was really troubled about it. And I didn't quite know what to do. I consulted mentors of mine and other colleagues. And it was interesting, the dividing line. Most of my colleagues who were ordained for 20 years or more said, you have to do this. Most of my colleagues who were more freshly minted said, of course you can't do this. This would be fraud. And so I then consulted Hollywood. And I remembered one of my favorite Hollywood musicals, Broadway musicals and Hollywood movies, and that, of course, is Fiddler on the Roof. And the song that came to mind was Do You Love Me? You know, Golda and Tevi are having this conversation. And in it, they sing the line, the first time I met you was on our wedding day. And all of a sudden it hit me that historically in Judaism, weddings did not have to do with love. It was a business transaction. And so I couldn't stand up on my high horse and say, Judaism teaches that you have to get married for this reason, because it doesn't say that historically. That's a modern concept. And so once I could put that aside, it became a no-brainer that I had to marry this couple. And so I did. And the wedding was one of the most extraordinary kinds of weddings I ever witnessed and officiated at. At the time, the bride was so stricken with her illness that she couldn't move. And so while it's traditional in a traditional Orthodox ceremony for the bride to circle the groom 7 times, she couldn't move. So instead, what happened is those holding the chuppah twirled around the couple 7 times. So we still got that fulfillment of a sense of tradition. The woman who got married had that happiness in her life, and she died a few weeks later. But I learned something very special. I learned that love in many different forms can ground our sense of being. I learned that when we have convictions, when we believe something is so true and so right, we've got to leave a door open to looking at things from different perspectives, because that's the only way that our world will become a little bit better. And it's like that whether it's with a couple who's getting married or a world that seems so polarized. I was proud of my decision with this wedding. And I was proud of coming from a tradition that teaches me to think outside of the box, to look toward the future, and to understand that there's always, always another way to move forward. Hengi Hiratson. I believe that through this, I found God's will. And to that, I did say at the time, Amen. Friends, it's now my honor to call forward the president of our congregation, Kathy Tenzo, who is here to offer Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Kathy, it's so good to see you again.
Yes.
We've both been traveling.
Yes.
So it's good to be back.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Kathy.
Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome, welcome. I wanted to welcome everyone here, and if you're here for the first time, we give you an extra special welcome. I know some of you were here for the open house, so thank you for coming and staying for our service. Thank you, Rabbi, for leading us in this beautiful service. And I know there are people here from the Ostrich family. Welcome. Is there anyone else here that I missed? Anybody here for the first time that we haven't had a chance to meet tonight? Welcome. Welcome. We'll look forward to schmoozing with you at our Oneg. I want to thank Naomi and her family for lighting the candles and leading us in the Kiddush tonight, and for hosting our Oneg Shabbat, which will be after our service. And I just want to remind you of a couple of our upcoming activities. We have a lot going on. We have an end of summer party tomorrow night here at the temple, 7 to 10 p.m. We have a challah break. Our challah baking is back this coming Thursday. We have our stand-up paddle with Rabbi next Saturday. If you interested in that, you can check it out on our website and in our e-news. Sisterhood is having a tour at the Skirball on the 27th, the Jewish Deli event. We have a blood drive on August 28th. And we have another open house on September 9th, so you can spread the word. And all of this information is on our website and in our weekly e-news. So, and if you have any questions, we'll be happy to help you answer any questions tonight. Again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Our concluding prayers begin with the Elena. We're on page 262, about halfway down the page, and we invite all to rise once again. Page 282, about halfway down the page. 282. 282. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו גויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו בהם, וגורר עלינו ככל המונה, ואנחנו פונים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו Please be seated, everyone. On page 288, as we prepare for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, I offer the following reading. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We remember now friends and family of our congregation who have died, who continue to shine upon us from their eternal resting spaces. We remember first those for whom we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning. And that includes Ron Nathanson, one of Akiba's past presidents, as well as Maxine Sokolov. Is there anyone else who is observing Shloshim the first 30 days? We add to their names the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths that occur on this Shabbat. And we begin with those who have plaques in our Orphrey Memorial Room. Louis Bergman, Jack Berman, Celia Beyer, Herman Bolgatz, Sarah Kaplan, Grace Duga, Albert Fried, Maurice Hyman, Herman S. Kuchai, Lillian Levitin, Ernest Lovey, Morris Marmon, Helen Miller, Irving E. Myers, Samuel Nussbaum, Morris Paperny, Harriet Park Davidoff, Louis Paskin, Ruthie Paver, Esther Schulman. And we also remember Arlene Ronner, Michael Burgess, Eunice Collins, Claire Dershowitz, Randy Dunn, Tracy Farrow, Sonia Fine, Armand Fields, Fanny Foreman, Nenny Forsythe, Thomas Friedman, Estelle Gold, Marvin Gordon, Rod Grossman, Paulette Lagasse, Fanny Margolin, Lily Markowitz, Rachel Newhouse, Eva Newman, William Pearl, Montel Perrin, Maxwell Petrush, Abraham Presser, Helen Rindfleisch, David Rosenthal, Samuel Rothman, Jack Shankman, Rose Siegel, Buster David Silberg, Lou Slutsky, Blanche Sussman, Neil Trachtenberg, Elaine Trope, Jack Vodovos, Gabriel Jaron Zissner. Are there additional yard sites that those who are here are observing? Please.
Eugene took.
May their memories guide all of us with love. On page 294, page 294, we all rise for our Kaddish Yatom. Yitzgadal, Yitzgadash, Shmei Rabbah, Yomad Yibrach Rutei V'Yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon V'Yomechon, V'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Bagalau B'Zman Kariv Imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam Olmei Omaya. Yibarach V'Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar V'Yitroman V'Yitnaseh, V'Yitadar V'Yitalev V'Yitalal, Shemei D'Kudashah V'Refu, Le'elam Min Tol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushbachata V'Nechemata, Damiran V'Yalma V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Ramav, U'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. If one causes peace to be known in the high heavens, help us understand that by reaching out to one another, we create peace on earth as well. For all Israel and for all humanity, we say, Amen. Amen. Please be seated, everyone. We're going to close tonight with another beautiful love song. This is a wedding song. It's called Erev Shel Shoshanim. It's on page 350, page 350 in our prayer books. Of all the parts of my own wedding that I remember 20 years ago is when the harpist began to play this, and my two sisters and Ron's sister and Ron's best friend all walked down the aisle with the chuppah. And I remember just the grace of them walking to this terrific, extraordinary song, which means an evening of blossoming roses. Erev Shel Shoshanim, Nitzena El Habustan, Or Besamim Ulevona, Leraglech Nifkan, Laila Yored Leha, Beruach Shoshan Yoshba, Ava El Kashlach Shir Balat, Zemer Shel Ahava, Yadalai, Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai lai 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 lai. Yai 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 lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. One final note, unintended, with this melody. Those last couple of words that we sang, Zemer Shel Ahava, a song of love. Zemer in Hebrew means music. And in fact, the word klezmer is clay zemer, the instruments of music. So a klezmer band is a band of music. But this word zemer, if you look at it in the transliteration, Z-E-M-E-R, let's remove one of the E's there. So let's just say it's Z-E-M-R, Zemer. That's our family acronym. And it's my sister Eliza who told me that. So Z, Zach, E, Eli, M, Maya, R, Rod. Spells Zemer. And so while we began with this wedding song, in that wedding song is our family. And so it kind of makes sense that we are the Zemer family. Zemer. So that said, Naomi, I'd like you to come back forward with your sister, with your parents, so we can break bread, have motzi, and then go outside to our onik. You guys ready?
We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in happy chorus as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'kei avon.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. And friends, if you can do us a favor by taking your Sidurim, your prayer books, and handing them to Herman and some other